everybody, welcome to my channel, Newsboy Audio. Doing some videos for you guys on some of the equipment that I've been seeing, purchasing and selling, and just enjoying. I wanted to get you some of these reviews out, so I'm doing a couple. Today we are talking about the KEF LS50s, this wonderful speaker here. We are not talking about the KEF LS50 Metas, though I will be mentioning the KEF LS50 Metas. I do have experience with the KEF LS50 Meta, and I will be coming out with a comparison between the two speakers on my channel. So subscribe and like, which is exactly what I wanted to make sure to mention to you guys. I need your subscriptions, I need your likes, I need your comments. We make these for you guys. We're not making any money off of them, at least not now. Maybe someday we can turn something and do something, but we want to improve our quality of these videos and offer you this great gear. We focus on vintage electronics and some of the more rare stuff that you will encounter. We just come across a lot of this in my hobby as an audiophile. I buy this stuff and sell it on the used market. A while ago, I realized that I could buy this stuff and sell it for pretty much the same price and experience it for many months if I bought it used. I realized that what I was buying on the used was the same price that I could sell them for. So there is some depreciation over time of the gear, but if you really bargain hunt, you can buy at a low price and sell at a high price, make a couple $100 or whatever. Some speakers I win, some speakers I lose. Overall, I make a couple $100 maybe a year on it. Nothing really big, but I get to enjoy all this great equipment out here. So after the initial investment of being an audiophile, you could just trade your stuff. Instead of just trading, from one person to another, I just sell it to one person, buy something new with the new money. And that's what I do. When I ship something, I get insurance on it just in case it goes wrong. Usually the insurance pays for everything if something does go wrong. But those are my costs, is the insurance and the shipping, which generally eats up most of the profits in this business. But as I said, if you keep your eyes on the auction and enjoy watching this rare stuff, you can get a great deal. Now back to the KEFs. I have the KEF LS50 Metas in my office, and I've been enjoying those for a year. I saw this come up. This is the KEF LS50 non-Meta, the 50th anniversary with a Q driver. It does not have the Meta material of the other one. I've been extremely impressed by the LS50 Metas for my 1-year experience, and I'm going to come out with reviews comparing them, like I said. But while I transition, I wanted to experience the regular LS50 for obvious reasons and enjoy the speaker somewhat. The speaker is a coaxial design. The center is a tweeter in the center with a woofer around here. This handles the bass, this handles the treble. The two move independently and are two separate drivers and work independently. They added these fins on them to help prevent help the sound and create, vortexes and other things that they find in there's more advanced simulations. Helps provide the better sound quality that these are famous for. But they are, and they are also beautiful, I should say. Not and they are also beautiful. They got a nice round surface, and this is so when the sound comes off of the speaker, it rolls out of the speaker like a wave and comes across the front of the speaker and bounces off of this front speaker. The curve on the speaker helps distribute that in a way that is more friendly to the ear. So you see a lot of the higher end speaker designs with curves. You don't see it as much in the lower end because they're more expensive to manufacture. So the cheaper cases have boxes. They'll also create in speaker design other shapes like this octagon and other things when you're trying to get a more expensive speaker sounding. And they do that because of the reflections that are occurring inside the box as well as around the box. So the wave comes out here, curves around and comes all the way to the back, and it's reflecting all the time, and that muddies or changes the sound, and we want to do that in a friendly way. In addition, and this is where the metamaterial is coming into play of the newest speaker, when the speaker is moving forward, it is producing a sound wave in the front of the speaker. But like all things, like physics says, every reaction has an opposite and equal reaction. A little physics for you guys. So the opposite and equal reaction is it's applying force to the air in front, but it's also applying force on the air behind. It's creating a negative wave on the other side of the driver that comes off the back, bounces off, and comes back through the front. Now, you have to think about sound as a wave, just like the ocean. You got a high wave and you got a low wave. All right, and they combine, they run into each other. This wave's going here, and this wave's going here, and they hit each other. And the low wave's down here, and the high wave's up here. What do? The water fills in the low wave, and it causes no wave, no sound, no nothing. The water would be flat for a split second on that spot. And that means that there is no sound. There would be a moment of no sound at that frequency. And this is how the waves work in your audio system. And so it muddles the sound. It causes a interruption in the sound, and it depends on where you're sitting as well as everything else. So it causes the speaker to sound muddied over time. What the KEF designers had done is they started to use it in metamaterial. And metamaterial is, I think, made out of either plastic or rubber, some material, and it's got an integral shape on it that they've researched and designed, and they've realized that it stops this back wave dead in its tracks so that it doesn't come out the front of the speaker, and it prevents the muddied. These older speakers do not have that. So when you're talking about the difference between this one and the metal one, that's one of the major differences. The other one is that they improved the Q driver, this driver a little bit, they said, in the new one. And it does make a difference. It makes a huge difference. This speaker acts more like it is priced now, which is around $500 to $600 for a pair. I would not have been happy with these at their original price of over $1,000 for a pair. These are not the wireless, but at these new prices without this, especially on the used market when I can buy this for $500 or $400, they start to become a better deal because they really do sound good. Got a ton of bass, got a really nice treble and everything, but the sound isn't as crisp as the LS50, the new Meta ones. So that's why there's a difference in price. Is it worth it? Well, it depends on how much you want to spend on your speakers and how much value you see from Clear Audio, but it does offer great value. Both speakers do at their price point. And as always, the used market tends to be even more fair in that, if speakers don't perform well, they drop in price. So these have been selling very well. I've had dealers tell me that they can't even keep the new Metas in stock. These older ones are still available and they're selling them for a reduction in price. There is also the wireless version. I do not like the wireless version. These speakers are too much money for me to be moving them around oftentimes. So unless I really wanted to play them out in my backyard or something and wanted to take the risk of moving them around constantly, I just wouldn't bother with it. I'd use a little cheap JVC or whatnot Bluetooth speaker for that. Unless I was really wanted a great sound or a great party, then I would move them out. But that's one of the reasons I'm not. The other reason I don't like the wireless versions as much is because if the electronics go bad in them, they can be impossible to repair, especially when KEF stops supporting them, which might happen in 20 or 30 years. I'm not sure what the lifespan of KEFs usually are, but when it does happen, you won't be able to buy replacement boards. If the problem is just simply a blown capacitor or something, you could go in and fix it. But these things are highly electronic. They have wireless capabilities, they have HDMI capabilities, they have Ethernet cards in it, a lot of things to go wrong. And so I stick with the non-wireless versions of most speakers. If I'm not, I would really consider buying them new. I'd be very much more worried. I've seen people, reports of people having blown amplifiers or multiple problems with the wireless ones, so I can't recommend them. Unless you really want that remote feature and the price isn't too much for you. The KEF LS50 non-meta, I would have to say, is a good value for its price. The trebles are very nice. The bass is incredible. For such a small driver, it's just incredible how much boom these things give out. KEF makes a little tiny subwoofer that you can add to this. It's powered and wireless as well. I hear great things, except it's very expensive and it doesn't quite offer the boom for, say, outdoors. It's more for smaller rooms and things like that. I have not experienced those, so take my word with a grain of salt. It's all hearsay is what I'm saying. Let's review these speakers a little bit on the back, and then I'll let you guys go. The back of the speaker have these two high-end audio posts. These are the same for both the KEF LS50s and the Metas. They have the anniversary KEF, and they have this rubbery type port in the inside. It's rubber. This is plastic, but the actual port itself is a very flexible material. If you look inside, you can actually see some filler is in there as well. I have not taken them apart. I suspect that these little bolts here are how you do that, but don't take my word for it. Don't destroy these speakers, and if you do take them out, do it at your own risk. Anyways, I think that is everything I wanted to share with you about this wonderful speaker. They are a little heavier. They have nice little feet down here, rubber paper things. I don't see any speaker spikes on any of these. They make a stand specifically for them that is very good. And they have these beautiful cute drivers. My biggest complaint about them would probably be that there is no grill on the front. These Q drivers do get damaged. You see them on the used market damaged. You could buy new Q tip drivers. They're a little bit expensive, but I guess if you have kids, you might want to consider something with a grill, or a lot of animals and want to put it in some place that it could damage. The price isn't too bad on them, $500 to $600 for these. The Metas go up to $1,200 new. You save a couple $100 on the used market. You could get them about $600 for the pair. They're about $700, $800 for the new ones. The Meta is the same thing, a couple $100. They're a month or two old, and you could buy them. You have to be quick. People buy the used ones really quickly because they know they're getting a new product, basically. So this one's black and gold. My LS50 Meta is the silver and red ones, and we'll come out with a comparison of those later. I hope you enjoyed my review and opinions of the speaker. They are good sounding speakers. They got a lot of bass. They could be a little clearer. The Meta material seems to go a very far away with it. And they could have a little bit more bass for larger rooms and be a little bit better for larger rooms. You might want a little bigger speaker if you want to go for a larger room. I've heard some complaints as well. It seems to work well in my listening room, and in my office, so I have no complaints there. But you know, this is only a couple inches, and I think it's a 3-inch driver or something. Don't quote me on that as always, but it's just not that very big, and the base requires more surface area to really take care of. So make sure to get a subwoofer if you really want to feel the impact of them. And other than that, I think we've covered everything. Like and subscribe my channel. As always, thank you very much.